morning. It's Monday, July 24th. And today we are in our first week of Leo. We are in the sign of the wands, the fire. We're at the 4 of fire. Not the 5 of fire. It's a 5 fire week. And if you recall the image on the 5 of wands, it is a bunch of people with their wands, like their passionate little stances, and they're all sort of playing with each other. And I often find this card really comical. It's like, it kind of feels to me like everyone's like, we're just practicing, right? We're just supposed to be playing, right? This is supposed to be fun, right? Because it feels like even though they're not sword fighting, they're sort of getting into it a little bit with each other. And the way I perceive this energy is one that it's like everyone, including ourselves, we're all coming into some clarity about what we're passionate about, what we stand behind, what we'll step up for. And last week would have been this total claiming of the way that we're intending this next cycle to be. We pulled the arrow back, we felt emotional about it, we let our life sink in, we pulled the arrow back, and now we're charging forward with power, with fire, with passion toward the thing that we love, toward the thing that we know we're about. And right off the bat, we run into a whole bunch of people that feel the same way about their things. This could be people, this could be the momentum of our previous life choices. So we could come up against our previous life choices and just be like, wow, okay, I still care about this. I'm going to make it through. So I'm going to read just a little quote that was clarifying for me when I was first moving through the initiations and the awarenesses of them. And this is a quote from Yogananda. So here, I'm just going to read it. I know now that I am a lion of cosmic power. Bleeding no more, I shake the error forest with reverberations of thine almighty voice. In divine freedom, I bound through the jungle of earthly delusions, devouring the little creatures of vexing worries and timidities, and the wild hyenas of disbelief. O lion of liberation, ever send through me thy roar of all-conquering courage. So when I found that quote, I was in a space where I was just finding my voice. And I remember saying that over and over to myself. And what it did is once I found my voice, I was bleeding no more. I was no longer just being that little lamb where I'm bleeding out, bleating with a T, not bleeding. I was no longer this like timid little lamb. I actually found my lioness roar, and I saw how the momentum of my past experiences, all my past choices, all of the things that were currently in my world, they were starting to shake, not out of fear, but out of losing their density based on the fact that I didn't believe in them anymore. And so it was almost like I was watching my old life start to crumble. And so this is part of what this was talking about. And then there were delusions. I had delusions that were breaking apart as I got stronger and stronger in my voice. And there were worries and timidities that would try to show up. There were hyenas of disbelief. There were parts of me that would show up and test my roar, and I would just roar again, and it was like clearing out my life. And I brought this quote into this because at this moment in our initiations, we've all found that voice. We've all come into our passion. And now is a time when we could experience a lot of it could feel like almost like even frustration that we've got this past momentum that we need to sort of wade through. Now, we set ourselves up to have a lot of compassion last week. We set ourselves up to just gently be present and let anything just fall away. And so this week might actually, instead of feeling like frustration, it might actually feel like we're just proclaiming and clearing the way in every current moment. So taking each moment as it is, I talk a lot about how making the mundane sort of exciting and sacred, like celebrating after taking the trash out or after finishing dishes or whatever. And as I looked at the energy of the week ahead, I saw that there's a lot here about creating new boundaries for ourselves based on the new version of us that has emerged. So I'm just going to go day by day from Sunday to Saturday and talk a little bit about the transits for the week and the kind of energies I'm seeing for each day. Yesterday was Sunday the 23rd, and we had a moon in Libra. The sun moved into Leo. It was opposite Pluto right before it turned over. So it might have felt yesterday that there was a closing of a chapter and an opening of a new one. Mercury was in a square to Uranus. So, and that's also, Mercury was also conjunct Black Moon Lilith. So it's possible that you could have talked about, like had some cathartic, revolutionary conversations that maybe spoke about something that would have previously felt a little triggery or a little like we'd be on eggshells a little bit talking about that. But maybe yesterday there was some ease talking about that. There was some conversations that just cleared the slate. And the words I had for Sunday were clearing the slate. We're having those conversations. We're clearing off the table. We're starting fresh. We're being curious. We're open and receptive to hearing the other side. And we're being really present with everything that's coming up for us and being really honest and authentic about all of that. So that would have started the week yesterday. And then today, we still have all week long for the entire week, since both Uranus and Black Moon Lilith move very slowly. We're going to have Uranus creating revolutionary, tangible change in our lives, squaring our resistance to expressing ourselves or the emergence of our expressions that we've previously been in resistance to. So as we emerge parts of ourselves, as we express ourselves even more this week, we are coming up against the Uranus pieces, the Taurean pieces, the tangible pieces of our lives. And because it's a square, we're probably going to have to like lean into it. These are both fixed signs. Black Moon Lilith is saying, listen, I've always been this way, and now that I'm being this way even more, I'm coming even more into myself. I'm even more grounded in who I am. These things actually do need to change. This is part of my sustainability revolution. And so all week long, we're slowly turning that dial to create the tangible changes we need in our day-to-day life. And so yesterday we cleared the slate. Okay, well, fine. Let's just clear the slate. Today, let's see things fresh. Let's just see it fresh. The moon is opposite Chiron today as well. So let's see ourselves fresh. Let's see our wounds fresh. Let's just be present and take it a little bit at a time and just see what happens. So then tomorrow, the moon will move into Scorpio. And we're going to have a square. So the moon will be squaring the sun. So this is a fixed square. This is a Scorpio square. Scorpio likes to introduce stimulus that will show us where our insecurities are or where we need to shore up our boundaries. And because Uranus is still in a square to Lilith, and because all of this is also square to Pluto, we may experience something that brings an awareness or a crisis of boundaries. So, wow, I didn't even know I needed to have a boundary there. That's so interesting. Wow, that just crossed my boundary and I didn't even know that that was my boundary now. There's a new like awareness of ourselves. There's a new relationship with ourselves. And as we are being refreshed, there's probably new boundaries we didn't even know we wanted to have. And so I think on Tuesday, we'll feel what that feels like. And then on Wednesday, the moon will still be in Scorpio and it'll be opposite Jupiter. Now, Jupiter's also in Taurus. So now we've got that Taurus Scorpio axis, the security axis, the axis of power and relationship. And the thing I wanted to, I recently watched a video about boundaries, and it like kind of turned the idea of boundaries around in my head. It explained that boundaries are not created to control other people. Like a boundary wouldn't be something like, I feel uncomfortable when you do that, so you need to stop doing that. That's not necessarily a boundary. A boundary is a way that we draw lines with ourselves. I feel uncomfortable when you do that, and because I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to step out. It's not, you need to stop doing something. It's, I am going to take a different action right now because I feel like a line has been crossed. And so there's this really interesting distinction that's happening where we actually stop control patterns that maybe we didn't even consciously understand. So these control patterns, instead of me trying to give you some boundaries so that I can feel secure or safe or like I'm able to just be myself right now, I'm going to acknowledge, oh, that dynamic doesn't really work for me. I'm going to do this now in response to that. So that could even be like, I'm just going to tell you that that felt uncomfortable. We're not asking them to do anything differently. And so, no, understanding like Scorpio is the place anywhere we have Scorpio in our chart. It's kind of good to know that in the conversation after this call, we can make sure that you know where you have Scorpio in your chart. But it's kind of good to know that this is going to pertain to that area of your life. For instance, I have Scorpio in the space of the outer world, my public persona, and like the communities that I'm a part of. It could be that I adjust my boundaries instead of trying to control the outer world. I adjust my boundaries with how I interact with the outer world. And so instead of expecting the outer world to somehow make me feel safe, I will in some way shift that. And I'm in this whole process of correcting my vision right now. And so it could be that those boundaries actually are opened. You know, we sometimes when we talk about boundaries, we always are talking about how boundaries cut things off or close things off or, you know, protect. But what if this week the boundary shift is one that actually opens our boundaries, like softens our boundaries, allows in even more? And that's an opportunity for us as well this week. So on Thursday, we still have a moon in Scorpio and it's squaring the Venus Mercury conversation, black moon Lilith conversation that's happening over in Leo. So, and not only that, the moon will be in trine to Neptune. There's a whole thing going on Thursday. I was sitting with this energy and I was like, it feels like we're being asked to just speak from our heart and soul. Just if we don't know exactly the right thing to say, it would be best for us to just know that we're speaking from our heart and soul, and that's all that is required. We don't have to have the right answer. We don't have to be super smart. We're just going to share from that place. Amanda asked, can you repeat the statements for Tuesday and Wednesday? The statement for Tuesday is a crisis of boundaries. And Wednesday is boundaries are not created to control others. they draw lines with ourselves. Boundaries are not created to control others. They draw lines with ourselves. And then Thursday is speaking from heart and soul. And then on Friday, there's a Moon, Neptune, Pluto trine, and the moon will now be in Sagittarius and it'll be squaring Mars. So we know whenever the moon's in Sagittarius, it's bringing us to a new awareness of something we now feel is even more true. It's like we're always evolving our truth. And with this one being square to Mars in Virgo, it's about integrity with our intentions and actions. So checking our integrity around our intentions and actions. And then on Saturday, I was confused. I honestly didn't want these to be the words. I kind of felt like I was all, is there anything else? Like, why am I thinking that? Why are those the words? The words I received were divine intervention. And as I was receiving that, I was like, intervention sometimes puts a little bit of a sensation in my system. Like, what needs to be intervened? Like, why do we need an intervention? And what I understood was this whole week is one beautiful, graceful, divine intervention that is realigning us towards something that's far more authentic for us. Now, I don't see that that's going to be like an abrupt or shocking or like terrible. I don't see it as that at all. What I actually see is sometimes it's like, wow, I really dodged a bullet there. Like, phew, that's so cool. I'm so happy that the choices I made this week aligned me in the way that I did. It was a divine realignment. And I still wanted to like press it to like, how about realignment? The word was clearly intervention. So the moon on Saturday is in Sagittarius. It's square to Neptune. There's a trine to Black Moon Lilith that's still in square to Uranus. The alignments are suggesting that there's some ideal divine alignment of truth that's bringing us harmoniously through our expression into some sort of change. I don't see this as being a painful situation. I see this as being I think where we are at the beginning of the week and where we are at the end of the week will be that micro degree angle shift where whatever clearing the slate did on Sunday, whatever seeing with fresh eyes did on Monday, whatever boundaries felt crossed on Tuesday, whatever realignment we do for our boundaries on Wednesday, whatever conversations we have on Thursday, and whatever integrity we hold on Friday, that is the action to be divinely realigned. And realigned from what? I don't know. I'm just seeing that this is a week where kind of holding that line and being present and showing up and just being curious and open and remembering who we are and keeping a lighter compassion with ourselves, that is going to just provide whatever guidance we need as we move through the week. And even though I'm like, yeah, just do that, it still sounds like quite a lot. So I'm gonna just keep this one brief today because I'm actually really excited to get into our conversations, and I hope that this served you. For the month of July, I made all of these moon days public. I'm going to discontinue the public and go back to a 1 month overview for the month of August. So these weekly calls are going to be just for our membership and just for our small group again. I just wanted to let you know, and also thank the group for allowing these to be public for this month. It really served me a lot to be able to take this month 1 week at a time rather than really going to the entire overview. So thanks for your generosity in sharing this message with everyone. And if you're watching these and you feel called to join our group, I'll make sure that there's a link available for you, and we would love to meet you. We've been meeting, most of us have been meeting ever since January. Some of us came on in March, and now there's like a nice strong window for new members to come and join us. And I'm looking forward to meeting you and welcoming you if that's you and you decide you'd like to do this with us. So thank you so much, and I'll hopefully see you in our group.